Hi everyone, Namaste. So in the last class we started solid state chapter. So we'll continue whatever the remaining is there. So the next topic is closed packed structures. So in this closed packed structures we completely learn about the structure of a crystalline solid. So as we know, crystalline solids are three-dimensional in geometry. So to identify the three-dimensional, first we have to find their two-dimensional, and before we have to identify one-dimensional structures. So one by one we'll see. First, one-dimensional structure of crystalline solid. So in one-dimensional, so all we know that a solid is made up of constituent particles. So constituent particles can be ions, can be molecules, can be atom, whatever. Not constituent particles, simply we are taking as a spherical shape. So all these are constituent particles. If all these constituent particles arranged linearly one by one, this structure is called one-dimensional structure. So one-dimensional structure means it is the arrangement of constituent particles in one direction. So here, the important thing is coordination number. What is coordination number means? It is the number of nearest neighbors per sphere. In any sphere we can take, for any sphere, maximum how many nearest neighbors are there. So for this sphere, so this is directly contact, this is directly contact. So number of nearest neighbors will be 2. That is called coordination number 2. So coordination number means simply directly contact particles per particle. For one particle, how many particles directly attached? Those are called coordination number, also called number of nearest neighbors. So in one dimensional, coordination number will be 2. Now see this one-dimensional structure. Just I am representing with letter A. This total structure name is A. Just I am writing the letter A. Now what two-dimensional structure is? The combination of one-dimensional structures will lead to two-dimensional structures. So that means, see this is a one-dimensional structure. I am writing here. Another one-dimensional I am writing below exactly on the same line. Another one-dimensional. So like this, when we are writing all one-dimensional in the same manner, then the total structure is called two-dimensional structure. So this is we are representing with letter A. So this is also similar to above one-dimensional. So this is also A, this is also A, this is also A. Simply this two-dimensional structure we call a closed packing, or also called square closed packing. Here what is the coordination number? So we can take any particle. So for one particle, the directly contact particle, this is directly contact particle, this is directly. So total coordination number will be 4. Another possibility is there. So this is a one-dimensional. This is representing with A. Similarly, another second one-dimensional. Exactly, I am writing below these two spheres, like this. Again, below these two spheres, I am writing So like this. So this is a one-dimensional. This is also one-dimensional, but both are different. So that's why the second one we are taking as A. The third one, first one again similar the same. This again we are writing as A. So first types we are calling as AB close packing, which is also called hexagonal close packing. So one dimensional alludes to either AA close packing or AB close packing. So both are two dimensional. In AA close packing, coordination number will be 4. In AB close packing, so what is the coordination number? So we can observe any particle. So take this particle. It is directly contact with this one, this one, this one. Total 6 particles are there. Here coordination number will be 6. So in one dimensional, coordination number will be 2. In two dimensional, two possibility. AA close packing, coordination number will be 4. AB close packing, coordination number will be 6. AA is also called square close packing. AB is also called hexagonal close packing. So this is a two-dimensional structure. Now again this two-dimensional on combining, we get three-dimensional structures like this. So I cannot write three-dimensional in the board. Just I am telling, if this two-dimensional on combining in a three-dimensional manner, then what we get? So we get simple cubic unit cell. So AA close packing in a three-dimensional manner leads to simple cubic unit cell whose coordination number will be 6. Coordination number will be 6. Actually, in two-dimensional coordination number is 4. But how it is converted to coordination number 6? Just how to imagine? Take this. This is a two-dimensional structure. Just imagine this is a one layer, like a paper. So just it is a one layer. Now another two-dimensional we are attacking from the front side. So when we are attacking from the front side, exactly this particle of the next layer will be in contact with this particle. It already has 4 contact particles. But when we are attaching another layer of two-dimensional, another particle will be in contact here. If you are stacking another layer from the back side, again another contact particle will be exist. So total contact particles will be 6. So this on three-dimensional manner we get coordination number 6. And the unit cell is called simple cubic unit cell. Similarly, this AB close packing, when we are attaching in three-dimensional manner, then what we get? We get two possibilities. So one is called HCP or AB close packing, whose coordination number 12. Another possibility is also there. CCP, also called FCC, which is also called ABC, whose coordination number is also 12. So that means, so this AB close packing, when we are attaching in a three-dimensional manner, we get two possibilities. One is called HCP or hexagonal close packing, also denoted with AB. Another one is cubic close packing or CCP or FCC. Not actually R. So this is also exist and this is also exist. So CCP also called FCC, which is also called ABC, whose coordination number will be 12. So how coordination number 12 is came? In two-dimensional, coordination number is 6. Already 6 particles are attached. Similarly, but when we are attaching another layer from the front side, total 3 particles will contact extra. How 3 particles will contact? See this. In this two-dimensional structure, between any 3 spheres, some space is there. Between any 3 spheres, some space is there, like this. This is particle, this is particle, this is particle. So between 3 particles, some space is there. So this space is called trigonal-wide. So between three particles, some gaps are there. Those are called trigonal-wide. So trigonal-wide will exist in two-dimensional structure. So when we are attaching another layer of two-dimensional, this gap is filled by next layer particles like this. That means one particle is attached to three particles. So that's why in this layer coordination number will be 6. When we are attaching another layer, each particle attached to three particles. So total will become 9. Already again from back side when we are attaching, another three particles will come. So total will be coordination number 12. So just when you are observing NCERT textbook, we can easily understand. So this is about closed bank structures. Again I am telling, one dimensional, all particles arranged in a linear way, coordination number will be 2. In two dimensional, two possibilities, AA closed packing, AB closed packing. AA closed packing coordination number 4, AB closed packing coordination number 6. So this AA closed packing, when we are attaching in a three-dimensional way, we get simple cubic unit cell whose coordination number will be 6. Just remember the numbers important. Simple cubic coordination number will be 6. Similarly, this AB closed packing, when we are attaching in three-dimensional manner, so we get HCP, also we get CCP. HCP name represented with AB, CCP represented with ABC. So CCP also called FCC. So FCC coordination number will be 12. So simple cubic 6, FCC 12. So in the same manner, when we are attaching BCC, so BCC coordination number will become 8. Just you have to remember the BCC structure. So coordination number will be 8. So simple cubic 6, FCC 12, BCC 8. So these three numbers you have to remember in three-dimensional. In three-dimensional, simple cubic 6, FCC 12, BCC 8. They are asking about one-dimensional, always 2. In two-dimensional, AA is 4, AB is 6. So all these are the coordination numbers. Now see this. So between three particles, some space is there that we are calling as trigonal-wide. If that space is covered by the next layer particle, then that space is called tetrahedral-wide. So in two-dimensional, trigonal-wides will be there. In three-dimensional, when we are coming, there is a possibility of tetrahedral-wides. So what is the tetrahedral-wide means? The geometry of these four particles is similar to tetrahedral geometry. That's why it is called tetrahedral-wide. Sometimes they will ask coordination number of wides also. For tetrahedral-wides, coordination number is 4. Why? Because that void is formed by four particles. That's why coordination number 4. Now another void is possible. So this is a space between three particles. This should be trigonal-wide. Now when we are attaching another layer, sometimes the space is not covered like this. So the next layer particles also are not covering that space. And such type of space is called octahedral-wide. So trigonal-wides, when we are attaching next layer, possibility of two types of wides. One is the tetrahedral, another one is the octahedral-wide. So tetrahedral-wides are those when the trigonal-wide space is covered by the next layer, that forms tetrahedral-wide. If it is not covered, then it will form octahedral-wide. What is the coordination number here? 3 spheres, total 6. Tetrahedral-wide coordination number 4, octahedral-wide coordination number will be 6. Now, if this we have to cover this octahedral-wide. So from the front side it should be like this. Also from the back side also it should be like this. So back one, front one, both are same. Back one is A, front one is also A. In between, two different layers are there that we are writing as ABC. Again, it will form ABC, ABC. So, octahedral through when we are forming crystal, that is called ABC, ABC. But through tetrahedral we are forming, see this. If this is one layer, this is second layer, both are different. When we are writing in the back, back is also similar to this one. It will become AB, AB. So, through tetrahedroid when we are forming three-dimensional manner, we get AB, AB. Through octahedroid we are forming ABC, ABC. This ABC, ABC we are calling as CCP or FCC. And this AB, AB we are calling as FCP, nothing but. Already told. In three-dimensional manner we get either CCP or HCP. So, HCP name AB, AB. CCP name ABC, ABC. Just remember the coordination number, nothing is important. Also, sometimes they will ask, so this is the coordination number, and sometimes they will ask number of octahedral voids, also number of tetrahedral voids. So, octahedral formula will be N, tetrahedral formula will be 2N. Here, N is number of atoms. In any solid, how many number of atoms are there? The same number of octahedral voids will be there. Double the number of tetrahedral voids will be there. So just use these numbers. Octahedral void is N, tetrahedral void is the 2N. So these formulas are important. Also another formula is there. That is the density formula. So density of solids. So density formula we know density is equal to mass by volume. So density of solid or density of unit cell. So density of unit cell is equal to mass of unit cell by volume of unit cell. So mass of unit cell means in unit cells, so number of different types of atoms are there. Because simple cubic will be one atom, BCC will be two atoms, FCC will be four atoms, like that. So different atoms in different types of unit cell. So that's why so this total mass of atom will get Z. Z means number of atoms. Simple cubic 1, BCC 2, FCC 4 into molar mass divided by Avogadro number. Because molar mass means mass of one mole atoms. If you want to calculate only one atom, you should be divided with Avogadro number. This is the mass of one atom, it is the number of atoms. Divided by volume, volume of unit cell. Unit cell means cube. Volume of cube will be A cube. So this is the formula of density of unit cell. Zm by A cube Na. Z number of atom depends on which unit cell is given. M is the molar mass, Na is the Avogadro number, A is the edge length. So this is also important formulas. So total mostly 4 formulas in this chapter. Density is the one formula. Remaining 3 formulas are relation between edge length and radius. For simple cubic, for BCC and for FCC. So mostly from these 4 formulas, any numerical questions will come. So we completed closed branch structures. So see this question, one simple question again. Structure of mixed oxide is CCP unit cell. The unit cell is composed of oxide ions. So unit cell is made up of oxide ions. And 1/4 of tetrahedral voids are occupied by divalent metal A. So A is occupying 1/4 of tetrahedral voids, whereas octahedral voids are occupied by monovalent metal B. So B is occupying octahedral, total octahedral occupying, A is occupying only 1/4 of tetrahedral void, and unit cell is composed of oxide ions. So we have to find the formula of the oxide. So first of all, how to identify? Unit cell is composed of oxide ions. That means unit cell is made by oxygen atoms. Which unit cell? That is CCP. CCP means number of atoms will be 4 because CCP or FCC both are same. So number of oxide ions. Oxide means O2 minus ions. This will be 4. Why? Because it is a CCP. FCC number of atoms always equal to 4. I already told atoms. So O2 minus is equal to 4. Now divalent metal A. So A2 plus is occupying 1/4 of tetrahedral whites. 1/4 of tetrahedral whites. So tetrahedral whites always double the number of atoms. Here the number of atoms are 4. Tetrahedral whites will be 8. So this will be 2. 8 by 4 2. Similarly, monovalent metal B. So B plus monovalent is given. So B plus I have taken. Which is occupying octahedral whites. So octahedral whites are equal to number of atoms. So number of atoms in FCC 4. Octahedral whites is also 4. So number of oxide ions are 4. A metals are 2. B metals are 4. So the ratio of formula will be A is 2, B is 4, and O is also 4. A2, B4, O4. So when we are taking empirical ratio, this will become AB2, O2. AB2, O2, option D. That is the correct answer. So very simple question. So such questions most important. So this atom is occupying octahedral whites, this atom is occupying tetrahedral whites. What is the formula? That is important. So octahedral whites formula number of atoms, tetrahedral formula 2 into number of atoms. This is important. So see this one important ionic compounds table I have written. So sometimes questions will come from this table also. So some important ionic compounds, some ionic compounds. Examples: NaCl type structure, zinc sulfate structure, CaCl, CaF2, Na2S structures. So 5 types of structures are possible. In NaCl type structures, that is also called rock salt type structures, Cl minus ions will form CCP. So CCP means again I wrote FCC. So Cl is forming FCC. So number of Cls will be 4 because for FCC required atoms will be 4. And Na plus occupying all octahedral whites. Octahedral whites are equal to number of atoms. That means sodium is also equal to 4. 4 chlorine atoms, 4 sodium atoms. So total molecules 4 NaCl molecules. That is called formula units. Formula units means number of molecules. So number of molecules will be 4. So NaCl type coordination number will be 6:6. For sodium is also 6 chlorine attached. For chlorine is also 6 sodium is attached. Coordination number will be 6:6. So for NaCl type structure, another best example is a diamond. Diamond is a NaCl type structure. But in NaCl type structure, chlorine atoms form CCP, Na plus occupies octahedral. But in diamond, diamond means made up of carbon. So some carbon atoms form CCP and some carbon atoms occupies total octahedral whites. So in diamond, number of carbon atoms will be 8. Why? Because 4 atoms required for the CCP formation and 4 atoms required for the occupation of octahedral whites. Total 8 atoms will be formed the diamond structure of CCP structure. So diamond number of atoms will be 8 because it is also similar to NaCl. Similarly, second one is zinc sulfide. In zinc sulfide structure, sulfur ions will form CCP. Wherein 2 plus ions will occupy alternate tetrahedral whites. So number of formula units will be 4. Coordination number. Coordination number is just identified by using structure. So it will be 4:4. CaCl type structure. In CaCl is a BCC type structure in which Cl minus will be present at corners, Cs plus at body center. Corners means 8 into 1 by 8. That means 1 Cl minus. Body center 1 atom, 1 CS. 1 CS and 1 Cl will form 1 molecule of CsCl. So formula units will be 1. Coordination number of BCC will be 8:8. Same like 2 extra compounds CaF2, Na2S. Both are opposite these two. CaF2 is similar to AB2 type. Na2S is similar to A2B type. So AB2 type is called chloride. A2B type is called antichloride. So structures. Here Ca2 plus forms CCP, F occupies all tetrahydrides. Common is as usual for, it is the coordination number. So this table just you have to practice, very simple table. So you have to practice this table. So from this also questions will come. So this is another important table. The table is called radius ratio table. In radius ratio table, so we will find the values of radius of cation by radius of anion, or sometimes it is also called radius of void by radius of atom. Cation by anion or radius of void by radius of atom. So if the radius of cation by radius of anion is in between 0.155 to 0.225, so this will be 225. Then the coordination number will be 3. The shape will be planar triangle. Example V2O3. Similarly, the value is in between 0.225 to 0.414. Coordination number will be 4. Tetrahedral shape, zinc sulfide CuCl. So how the question will come? Suppose they will give radius of cation and they will ask radius of anion. For example, NaCl type structure. The value of Na plus is 100 picometer. Then what is the value of Cl minus they will ask? If it is a NaCl type structure, in NaCl type structure, so this value we have to take. The radius of cation by radius of anion will be in between these two values. But always we take minimum value. This is important. We always take minimum value. So for NaCl type, R plus by R minus value is equal to 0.414. So cation value they will give, they will substitute, then we get anion value. So this is also an important type question. They will give cation radius as per anion radius. Just you have to substitute. Always take minimum value. If they are giving V2O3 molecule, we take this value. Zinc sulfide, we take this value. Actually, from here to here, any value is possible. For calculation, we always take minimum value. So this is the radius ratio. If you know the radius value, radius ratio value, also we can find coordination number also. This is the coordination number. This is the shape. Sometimes they will ask radius of void by radius of atom. The voids already told. Triangle voids are there, tetrahedral voids are there, octahedral voids are there. So which void they are asking, so we can use that value. So radius of triangle void by radius of atom, so will be 0.155. Radius of tetrahedral voids by radius of atom will be 0.225. Radius of octahedral void by radius of atom will be 0.414. Always we use minimum values. So this radius ratio table also very important. So next we will see the next topic. This is also important topic. So that is the defects. So in solids, so defects also most important. So defects are also called imperfections in solids. So as we know, crystalline solids are regular and repeat arrangement in three-dimensional geometry. If all particles are regularly arranged, then that is called crystalline solid. But in any some solids, if that regularity is missing or regularity is disturbed, then that is called imperfection or also called defect. So defect is nothing but some irregularity in the crystalline solid is called defects. So defects can be caused by any process, either by changing of pressure or changing of temperature or changing of some pH values in chemistry. So by any process, if the regularity is damaged or disturbed, then that we are calling as defects. So defect is nothing but irregularity in the crystalline solid. Now, these defects are classified to two types. One is called point defect. Another one is called line defect. So one is the point defect, another one is the line defect. What is the point defect means? Suppose in a crystalline solid, all particles are regularly arranged. So this is a crystalline solid. At a particular lattice point, suppose particle is missed. When particle is missed, so they become irregular. So exactly all particles are not present. So this is irregularity. So this irregularity we are calling as defects. But this irregularity at a particular lattice point is happening. That's why this is called point defect. So point defect means the defect at a particular lattice point. If these defects are throughout the line is present, then such defects are called line defects. So point defects exist at a particular point, whereas line defects exhibit throughout the axis. Those are called line defects. So in this chapter, we only study point defects. So further point defects are classified to first one, stoichiometric defects. Number of types are there: stoichiometric, another one is impurity, and another one is non-stoichiometric. So total 3 types of point defects are there: stoichiometric, impurity, and non-stoichiometric. So one by one we'll say. First we'll say stoichiometric defects. So stoichiometric means here composition of metal and non-metals are same. How many metal atoms are there? Same number of non-metal atoms are there. So such types of defects are called stoichiometric. Stoichiometric means same composition. In this, the first one is vacancy defect. So very simple, all you know, vacancy defect means this is mainly due to missing of some particles. So some constant particles are missed. So there is some vacancy is there. Such defects are called vacancy defects. So due to vacancies, particles are losing. So mass will be decreased. When mass will be decreased, so density will be decreased. So in vacancy defects, the density of the crystal will be decreases. Another one is there interstitial defects. Interstitial defect means in a crystalline solid, if any some extra particles are occupying, so this is a regularity, but at some interstitial sites, some extra particles are occupying. So these are extra particles occupying. So such defects are called interstitial defects. Defects means not only due to loss, it can be due to gain also possible. This what I told, defect means irregularity, either by losing or either by gaining. Some irregularity is there. So such types are called defects. Due to gaining, that is interstitial. Due to losing, that is vacancy defect. Here density will be decreased, and here density will be increased. So these are the stoichiometric defects. Another stoichiometric defect is Schottky defect. Schottky defect also under stoichiometric. What is the Schottky defect? It is the vacancy defect in ionic solids. Vacancy means due to missing of particle. If this missing is happening in ionic solid, then that is called Schottky defects. In ionic solids, positive ions and negative ions will be there. So whenever some ions are missing, suppose from here positive ion is missing and from here negative ion is missing. So due to missing of ions, so whatever the defect is happening, that is called Schottky defect. Whatever, I already told it is a stoichiometric. Stoichiometric means composition must be same. So for that, how many number of positive ions are losing? Same number of negative ions also will lose. So equal number of positive and negative ions are missing from the sides. Such defects are called Schottky defects. So here also density will be decreased. Also here, so due to loss of some ions are missing. So due to that, lattice energy will be decreases. Because what is the lattice energy? Energy required to break 1 mole of ions. So here number of ions are decreasing. The required energy will be decrease. So here density also decrease, lattice energy is also decrease. But here, because of these gaps, ions can be freely move into that gaps. So due to this, movement will be increased, so conductivity also will be increases. So these are the characteristics of Schottky defects. Schottky defects are due to missing of equal number of positive and negative ions. Why both equal number are missing? Here the main reason is Schottky defect is shown by those molecules in which the radius of cation and anion, positive ion and anion radius are nearly similar. So which has similar positive and negative ions radius, those mostly shows Schottky defects. Example like NaCl, KCl, CaCl, etc. So these molecules will show Schottky defect, also AgBr. Another one is Frenkel defect. So what is the Frenkel defect here? It is also present in ionic solids. In ionic solids, so in ionic solids, see this. So this is an ionic solid. In this Frenkel defect, one of the cation will vacate its position and occupies interstitial site. Such defects are called Frenkel defects. In Frenkel defect, cation mostly vacating its position and occupying interstitial site. Interstitial means in between site. Why only cations are occupying? Because when compared with anion, cation is very small in size. So cations, they can easily escape from their site and easily occupies interstitial site. Such defects are called Frenkel. In this defect, there is no changing of ions. Ions are not losing, not gaining. Just one ion is changing its position from its site to interstitial site. It is going. So that's why the density is no change. Lattice energy is also no change. But so due to gas, conductivity little bit increases. So these are the properties of Frenkel defects. And Frenkel defects are shown by those molecules whose cation and anionic radius have large difference size. So when size difference is very large between positive and negative, they will show Frenkel defect. When size difference is not very much high or very small size difference is there, they will show Schottky defects. Here are examples like zinc sulfide, AgCl, AgBr and AgI. Here series AgBr can show both types of defects. Frenkel defect also it can show, Schottky defect also it can show. That means its size difference is not very high or not very small. So medium is there. That's why it can show both Frenkel and Schottky defects. So all these are stoichiometric defects whose composition is constant. After the stoichiometric defect, another one is impurity defect. Impurity defect is nothing but it is due to presence of foreign ions. Foreign ions means actual than the crystal any other ion is present. And such defects are called impurity defects. For example, we are taking NaCl solid, Na plus Cl minus. So solid is made up of Na plus Cl minus. So this is NaCl solid. In this NaCl solid, Na plus ions and Cl minus ions are present. If any other ion is present, then that is called foreign ion. So due to any other ion or foreign ion, the defect is called impurity defect. For example, we are taking strontium. Strontium is a second group element whose charge is plus 2, which is equal to 2 sodium ions. One strontium is equal to 2 sodium ions according to charge. Sodium charge is plus 1, strontium charge is plus 2. So that's why if in place of sodium we are replacing strontium, one strontium replaces two sodium ions. Come here sodium ions is missed, come here sodium ions is missed. So in place of two sodium ions we can place one strontium. But when one strontium is coming, so another vacancy is there. Such types of defects are called impurity defects. Due to presence of foreign ion, some defects are happening. That is the impurity defect. Here we cannot say density increases or decreases. So that is depends upon mass of the atom whatever replacing. So it can be increase also possible, decrease also possible. So density does not matter here. So this is impurity defect due to presence of foreign ions. Sometimes questions will come like this. If NaCl is doped with some amount of strontium ions, so what is the percentage of cationic vacancies? The number of percentage or amount of vacancies they will ask. Simply say this, if one strontium is replacing, how many vacancies? One vacancy. Like that another strontium is replacing. The remove two sodium, one strontium will come, again one vacancy will be there. So number of vacancies are equal to number of strontium ions. So suppose in place of strontium, aluminum is came. Aluminum charges the 3. So it removes total 3 sodium ions. So number of vacancies will be 2. So one aluminum makes 2 vacancies. One strontium makes 1 vacancies. Like that. So amount of impurity we know, amount of vacancies also you can easily identify. So such types of questions also important. So after the impurity defect, the next one is non-stoichiometric defect. Stoichiometric means equal composition, whereas non-stoichiometric means unequal composition. That means metals and non-metals are not in equal composition. Either metals can be more amount or non-metals can be more amount. That's why these are classified to two types. One is called metal excess defect. Another definitely metal deficiency defect. So stoichiometric and non-stoichiometrics are two types: metal excess defects and metal deficiency defect. Metal excess means amount of metal is more, metal deficiency means amount of metal is less. So these are two types of solids. For example, if we are taking NaCl solid, Na plus Cl minus, so what is actually metal excess defects means? Metal excess defect can be caused either by due to extra metal atoms or due to loss of non-metal atoms. Anything possibility is there. If metal atom is extra coming, that will become metal excess. If non-metal is losing, that is also become metal excess defect. Suppose if this NaCl solid we are placed in a metal chamber, sodium gas chamber we are using. Sodium gas on heating loses electron, produce Na plus ions. So two combines with this Na plus ions, this Na plus will attract the Cl minus to the surface. So Cl minus ions will be excited to surface to combine with this Na plus ion. So here the Cl minus vacancy is there, it will go to surface of the crystal. Now these vacancies are filled by electrons. So these electron filled vacancies are called F centers. So F means for base, that is a German word which means color. So whenever in the ionic crystals some non-metals are removing, so that space is occupied by electrons. So such centers are called F centers. Because of that unpaired electrons, so they will show colors. Color is due to presence of unpaired electrons. So they will show colors. So that is called F centers. So in this crystal, Cl is lost. So due to that amount of sodium is more. That is called metal excess defect. Similarly, metal deficiency defects also there. For example, if we are taking iron oxide FeO, it is made up of Fe2 plus O2 minus. So this is an iron oxide FeO, whereas Fe2 plus ions and O2 minus ions are present in the crystal. But in the naturally existing iron oxide, this iron completely Fe2 plus does not present. There is also some Fe3 plus ions will be exist. In the iron oxide, normally it is Fe2 plus charge, but some Fe3 plus ions also present. So because of Fe3 plus ions, so the amount of metal will be decreases. Why? Because it is in place of 3 Fe2 plus, if 2 Fe3 plus is present, charge is equal, 3 into 2 will be 6, 2 into 3 will be 6. That means 3 ferrous equal to 2 ferric ions. So that means whenever ferric ions are increasing, ferrous ions will be decreases. That means we can remove 3 ferrous, we can add 2 ferric ions. So in place of this, I am writing Fe3 plus, here I am writing Fe3 plus. So 1 Fe2 plus will be lost. Here say this charge is equal, 3 plus will be 6. So 3 iron removed, 2 iron is came, so 1 vacancy is there. So such defects are called metal deficiency. Amount of metal is less, that is metal deficiency. So number of examples are there, but just what is metal deficiency, what is metal excess defects, this is important. So this is about defects. The defects can be stoichiometric, impurity, non-stoichiometric. So use the examples. Important this one. So the next topic will be almost all completed. So two important properties are there. One is the electrical properties. Electrical properties of solids. So electrical properties means based on conductivity values, solids are classified to insulators, semiconductors and conductors. We all know that conductors means, so they will conduct high amount of electricity. So insulators, so does not conduct electricity, the conductivity is very low value. In between is there, those are called semiconductors. So the conductivity of these values by solids can be explained by one theory, that is called band theory of solids. Band theory of solids. So band theory explains the conductivity of a solids. So what exactly band means? In the chemical bonding topic, we learn about molecular orbitals like this. When atomic orbitals will combine, we get molecular orbitals like this. Below is called bonding molecular orbitals, above is called anti-bonding molecular orbitals. So when the distance between these orbitals are small, so these two can overlap, form like this. So this is called band. So band is nothing but it is also combining of molecular orbitals. Directly we can say band is a molecular orbitals. Nothing but it is a molecular orbitals. It contains electrons sometimes, it does not contain electrons, sometimes empty. If electrons are present, that is called valence band. If electrons are empty, that is called conduction band. So bands are two types, valence band and conduction band. So this is one band. And this is another band. If electrons are filled, that is called valence band. If it is empty, that is called conduction band. So between these two bands, valence band and conduction band, if the energy gap is very large, then that is called insulators. Why? Because if electrons are there, it is empty orbitals. But here the distance is very large, electrons cannot excite. So due to that, no movement of electron. Those are called insulators. Similarly, between these two, a small energy gap is there. This is called energy gap. A small energy gap is there, and that is called semiconductors. If there is no energy gap, so directly both are combined, then electrons can be easily excited. They conduct electricity. So those are called conductors. So very simple band theory. Band is nothing but molecular orbital or combination of molecular orbitals. When two molecular orbitals are combined, that is called band. If electrons are present in that orbital, that is called valence band. If electrons are not present, that is called empty band. So between valence band and empty band, some gaps are possible or no gaps are possible, or some small gaps also possible. If the energy gap is very large, that means electron cannot excited from filled orbital to empty orbital. If electrons are not excited, they cannot conduct electricity. Semiconductors have small energy gap, so some electrons can be excited, so they can conduct electricity partially. Conductors are no energy gap, so electrons they can freely move from filled orbitals to empty orbitals. Those are called conductors. So that is the band theory. So semiconductors are partial conductors whose conductivity can be increased by adding some additional materials. By adding some additional materials, the conductivity of semiconductors can be increased. So the process is called doping. So doping is a process of increasing the conductivity of semiconductors by adding additional materials. So doping can be done by 13th group, that means electron deficient impurity. Electron deficient impurity. What is electron deficient impurity means? I am taking silicon atom. Silicon is an example of semiconductor. So silicon has 4 valence electrons like this. It is a 14th group, so number of valence electrons will be 4. Now I am taking aluminium. Aluminium is the 13th group. It has also 4 orbitals, but it has only 3 valence electrons. Why orbitals are 4 and electrons are 3? Simply we can identify by electronic configuration. Aluminium atomic number 13. Configuration 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p1. That is the electronic configuration. So outer electronic configuration 3s2, 3p1. Valence electrons are 3. So electrons are 3. But orbitals are 4. Why? This is s orbital. S orbital is 1 orbital. This is p orbital. P orbitals are 3. px, py, pz. So total 4 orbitals. Among these 4 orbitals, only 3 electrons are present. That's right. 3 electrons, 4 orbital. That means the 4th orbital is empty orbital. So silicon has 4 electrons. Aluminum has 3 electrons. So in this semiconductor silicon, if you are adding aluminum, so aluminum has 1 empty electron. So due to addition of aluminum, the electron present in the silicon will be shifted to empty orbital. Now it will become electron and it will become empty. Electron of silicon is shifted to aluminum. Now it will become empty. Now it is again empty, it is filled electron. So again this will be shifted to here, become empty. Again it will become empty, it will become electron. So that means electrons continuously rotating between this and this orbital. So due to that rotating, for us it is visible like this. Electron is shifting here, whereas empty orbital is shifting here. Electron is going here, empty orbital is going here. Again electron is empty orbital is going here, electron shifting here. So this is a continuous process. So due to this, for us visible to us, empty orbital is also shifting. So this empty orbital is shifting to opposite direction of electron. Electron charge will be negative. So So it is shifting opposite to the electron. That means this empty orbital charge we are assuming as positive. So this is called positive hole. So due to exchange of these positive holes, electricity will be increased. Such types of conductors are called p-type semiconductors. So p-type semiconductors are those where semiconductors are doped by 13th group, which means electron deficient impurity. Because in electron deficient elements, some empty orbitals are there. Those we are assuming as positive holes. Why they are positive means? Because they are moving opposite to the electron. So electron charge is negative. So hole charge we are assuming as positive. So such positive type conductors are called p-type semiconductors. Similarly, so 13th group will produce p-type. If you are adding 15th group impurity, the same silicon atom I am taking, it has 4 valence electrons. If I am adding phosphorus atom, phosphorus has 5 valence electrons. In place of aluminum, we are using phosphorus, atomic number 15. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p3. Valence electrons are 5, but orbitals again 4. 1s orbital, 3p orbital. So orbitals are 4, but electrons are 5. Here one electron, one electron, one electron. In these orbitals, paired electrons. So silicon is doping with phosphorus atom. Here unpaired electron, here paired electron. If there is no empty orbital, that means there is no hole. Here extra electron is present. So these extra electrons can be moved to this orbital. After it is moved to this orbital, so continuously here electron is moving, holes are nothing. Only movement of electron is there. So due to movement of electron, the conductivity increases. Such type conductors are called n-type. N means negative type. Electron charge is negative. The negative electrons are due to moving. The conductivity, semiconductor is called n-type. Here also electron is moving. At the same time, hole is also moving. Hole charge we are assuming as positive. So n-type is by 15th group. 15th group is also called electron rich impurity. 13th group is called electron deficient impurity. So these are about electrical properties. So same like magnetic properties also there. Magnetic properties. So magnetic properties can be paramagnetic, diamagnetic, ferro, antiferro, and ferrimagnetic. Para, dia, ferro, antiferro, ferrimagnetic. So paramagnetic is due to presence of unpaired electron. So what is a paramagnetic means? It is the substances which are weakly attracted by magnetic field are called paramagnetic due to presence of unpaired electrons. Examples taken like O2 molecule, Fe3 plus, Ni2 plus, etc. So any unpaired electrons is present, that is called paramagnetic substance. So diamagnetic substances are those which are weakly repelled by magnetic field due to presence of paired electrons. Example, NaCl, benzene, H2O, etc. So all these are diamagnetic substances. So this is due to unpaired, this is due to paired. Ferro, antiferro and ferri. So these three are classified differently. So what is ferro, antiferro, ferri means? In some solids, some positive ions are grouped together. That group is called domain. So this is a domain. It is a group of metal ions or group of ions that is called domain. It is represented with arrow mark. So this arrow mark represents it is a group of ions. If all these domains present in a present in the direction of magnetic field, then such substances are called ferromagnetic. In absence of magnetic field, they move randomly. But when we are using magnetic field, all these are attracted towards the direction of magnetic field. All will be aligned in the same direction. Such substances are called ferro. So ferro substance is also called permanent magnetic substance, because even absence of magnetic field, so this order of domains is same. So that is behaving as permanent magnet. Second one is antiferro. Some examples also there, like iron, nickel, cobalt. So number of examples are there. Antiferro. So antiferro means if the domain order is alternate, then that is called whatever the antiferro magnetic nature. So examples can be manganese oxide, Mn2O3, etc. If the domains are irregular order, there is no regularity, then the substances are called ferrimagnetic substance. Examples can be Fe3O4. So, just examples are most important. There are 5 types of magnetic field: para, dia, ferro, antiferro, ferri. Para is due to presence of unpaired electron. Dia is due to presence of paired electron. Ferro is due to presence of arrangement of domains in the same direction of magnetic field. It is a permanent magnetic because even in the absence of magnetic field, the order is same. Antiferro, alternate arrangement of domains. Ferri, irregular arrangement of domains. So these are the magnetic properties. So here also remember, this ferromagnetic and antiferromagnetic, both on heating, these domains will become random. So this is a regular order, this is alternate order. Both these domains will become random, that means irregular on heating. So both of these can be converted to paramagnetic substance. Under high temperature, ferro and antiferro can be converted to paramagnetic substance due to randomization of these domains. So this is about the magnetic properties. Similarly, an important formula is there. So the formula is Bragg's formula or Bragg's equation. The Bragg's equation, n lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. Sometimes they will ask Bragg's equation is also, actually it is not in syllabus, but in the GATE exam they will come. N lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. So what exactly Bragg's equation is? If you are observing crystalline solid structures, they will be present in layers. So the distance between these layers can be identified by passing a known wavelength of X-rays. So by passing X-rays, we can identify distance between these planes, or distance between these layers. So by using this equation, n lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. Just remember the formula. N is called order. So order will be given the question. It can be second order or whatever. Lambda is the wavelength. So wavelength also they will give. So d is the distance between the planes. So that we have to determine. So angle of scattering also they will give. Just we have to remember this formula, Bragg's equation. So this is about solid state. We'll see in the next class. Thank you very much.